Hi everyone! In today's video I'll be drawing Katniss Everdeen from the iconic Hunger Games. I've read all the books and I've watched all the movies, and you don't really have to know anything about the Hunger Games to watch this video. I'll just fill a sketchbook spread with a character design of the main character, so let's just jump right into it. So I'm just going over my sketch with my black Micron or Copic pen, I'm not really sure. But I did sketch off camera like I did in the last video. It seems like a lot of you guys actually liked my last video, which I'm really happy about. And I decided to do something kind of similar. Instead of drawing my own characters, this time I'm drawing Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, and you can just see the final outline here. I just want to film it really quick for you guys because I'm going to go in with color right now. And if you wonder which markers I'm using the Copic Chow markers. But yeah, I really wanted to do something similar since it seems like a lot of you guys liked my last video, and I decided to do this whole spread with Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games. And I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. If you haven't watched my channel earlier, you might perhaps not know that I like to read, but I do actually like to read quite a lot. It is one of my favorite activities, especially when there is like a rainy day or something. I love to pick up a book and just sit by myself and read. And so I wanted to channel that in this video because The Hunger Games has been a really important book for me growing up. And that is because I speak Norwegian normally, right? So my channel was in Norwegian and everything, but when I was in 8th grade, I think, I started to read in English, and reading in English really opened my eyes to literature, and I get really excited when I read. The first English series I read when I was in 8th grade was Divergent, because one of my friends had picked it up, and I just wanted to read it because I had been eyeing that book in the library for so long, and then she picked it up and I was just like, okay, I have to read it too now so that we can read it at the same time, which also is something that I love. I love reading the same books as my friends and then teasing each other with like what we have read and who's read the most and stuff. I think that's really fun because I'm really competitive, but I'm not really a sports person, so reading with another person really makes me happy. Since then I have read a lot of books, and the second series that I picked up after the Divergent series was The Hunger Games, and that really made me love reading like a lot because I love dystopian books and I love sci-fi and I love romance and I love thrillers, and I basically love like everything when it comes to books, and so revisiting this love for the Hunger Games was just really nice for me because I really like Katniss Everdeen and I have watched the movies multiple times, and I think I've only read the series once or twice, but you know, that's fine. I'm not really a huge person who likes to like reread books. I just think that's kind of boring because I have already read it and I already know what's happened. And so I really love the movies too. And I guess I can just talk a bit about Katniss Everdeen if you don't know her, or if you do know her. You know, it's always interesting to like say what I mean about her and what I like about the story, and then hearing what you guys like about the story. So one of my favorite things with the Hunger Games is like the world building. I think it is really exciting, and basically dystopian books means that it is like a tragic future. So Katniss Everdeen, she lives in this world, and this world is split into districts. So like the best district to be in is District 1, which is like the capital and where all the rich fancy people live, and they have really weird clothes and fashion, and it's just really weird. If you have seen the movie, you'll see like amazing fashion designs that are like really out there that the capital wears. and the capital are basically the people that are saved from the Hunger Games. So the Hunger Games is like this annual thing, like I think it is every year that they pick out different tributes to the Hunger Games. I think it is one girl and one boy from each district. That was really hard for me to say, I'm really sorry. But Katniss Everdeen, she lives in District 12. So District 12 is like where the most poor people live, and they are most of them miners. I don't know how to say that. Like they work in the mines. Yeah, you probably understand what I mean. So they're really poor, and most of them are really hungry. So Katniss, she basically hunts food for her family, and she's really good at using like an arrow and a bow, and she hunts along with her best friend Gale, and hunting is kind of not allowed by the government or the capital, whatever you like to call it, or the president. President Snow, we don't like him. He is kind of evil and kind of scary, and we don't like him at all. But he is a really cool character though. So Katniss and Gale are essentially doing something illegal when they sneak out and go into the woods and hunt animals. And so that is what they do to survive. And when the annual Hunger Games comes, the story basically starts, and the whole thing that happens is that Katniss has a little sister whose name is Primrose Everdeen, and Prim basically gets picked to be in the Hunger Games, and Katniss doesn't want her little sister in the Hunger Games because her little sister is like a healer sort of thing, and so she doesn't know how to fight, while Katniss can use like a bow and an arrow, and she's older of course, so she would have a more likely chance of surviving the Hunger Games, so she basically volunteers. And in the lower districts, it's not that usual to volunteer. Like, you know that if you go into the Hunger Games and you are from like District 12, they never win, and they'll like almost always lose, except for like one time where Haymitch, who is a man from District 12, won. And the thing is that the whole point of the Hunger Games is like entertainment and the government scaring the lower classes. But also it is fame. So like in District 2, they train their children to be ready to fight in the Hunger Games, and they almost like want to be picked to go to the Hunger Games because it's like an honor, because they tend to win a lot of the time, because they have a lot of more training, and also a lot more sponsors. You can get sponsors when you're in the Hunger Games, so sponsors will basically pay for you to get something with a parachute. Like you can see on the page to the left, I have drawn like a parachute with like this green color, and that is when Katniss gets like some food or something in that. I'm not really sure, some food or a cream, something like that. And if you have contacts who are rich, you will obviously get more of these parachutes, and so there's more likely that you're going to win if you are from a higher district, whereas if you are from this District 12 or District 10, for example, you're most likely going to die, and that's really sad. And there can only be one winner of the Hunger Games. So basically you send a bunch of teenagers into an arena where they are supposed to kill each other, which is not really nice. But it is really exciting because there's a lot of fight scenes in the books and also in the movies. I'm not a huge fan of blood in movies, but I managed to watch the Hunger Games just because I've already read all the books, so I knew what happened. And then I also prepared myself by watching some behind the scenes to make it less scary for me. I don't know if you guys also don't like watching blood, but I'm like that. I don't really like violence in movies. I think it's just kind of scary, and I always feel for the characters, and I always feel like the people that play in movies are real, like in the moment. So I can't really see the difference between like an actor or like the actual character. So I feel like they're getting hurt even though it's just like fake. So the Hunger Games is kind of hard to watch for me, but I think like the movies are so beautifully made and so true to the books that I really really love them. And also, of course, there's more characters than Katniss Everdeen. There's also this guy named Pita, and we all love Pita, or I do. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I think it is a kind of cute name. And Pita is basically the other boy from the District 12 who gets picked to be in the Hunger Games. And nobody volunteers to take his place, so he has to go. And Pita and Katniss have this whole backstory with him tossing her a burnt piece of bread when she is starving, when she was quite young. And we basically see Pita as this guy who has fallen in love with Katniss, and she doesn't really like him back. I think she likes Gale more. It's this kind of love triangle. But I like Pita. At the beginning of the book, I really loved Gale. I thought he was kind of cool, like this dude going out and hunting. And then when Katniss volunteers for Prim, he decides that he is going to help their family with food. So he's going to hunt for his own family and also for her family and take care of Prim and Katniss' mother. Katniss doesn't have a father because he died in a mining accident, so that's really sad. We don't really talk about it because it's really sad. So she doesn't really have like a working parents, and that is why she has to hunt for her food. And Gale, he has a lot of sisters and brothers, I think. So he has like this huge family, so he already has a lot of people to feed. And then he just is like, okay, you're going to the Hunger Games, I can feed your family too. And that's just so nice. We love Gale, he's a nice guy. But once we get to the Hunger Games and we see Katniss and Pita spending some more time together and bonding over like being sent to this dangerous place, like this arena where they're supposed to fight on other teenagers. I really love it. And like the whole fake dating sort of trope is in the books also. Because they have to come up with this story to get the Capitol to want to support them, because Katniss is not really like a likable character, if you can call it that. If you read the book, she's really likable, like she is kind and she is like really brave and stuff. I think that's why a lot of people love her. But to the Capitol, she seems kind of angry, and obviously she has a good reason to be angry. Her father died in the mines, and she hasn't really had a lot of access to food growing up, so coming to the Capitol and being fed a lot of food before the Hunger Games is really kind of new to her. And I would understand her being really angry when, like, in the Capitol you can take pills to like eat more so that you'll feel hungry again and then get to eat more food. And that's just kind of stupid that they have like this huge amount of food and the people in District 12 are like starving. That is just bizarre, and really really sad, but also like really important, because there is a lot of people who don't have access to food like in this world either. So it is a really important topic, and I think the author did a really good job at like channeling Katniss and bringing in some important and relatable topics as well. And so that's really why I love the Hunger Games, and there's a lot of plot twists and there's a lot of fun things happening. And also there's this meme with Pita. He's really good at like camouflaging, so he can like paint himself to look like a rock or like a tree trunk or something. I think there's this one scene where he is in the place where they practice for the Hunger Games, because they have like 2 weeks where they get to practice before the Hunger Games, and he basically paints himself like a tree and shows off that he can like blend into his surroundings. And when Katniss asks how he learned that. He just says that he decorates cakes. And like, how do you learn how to paint yourself like in camouflage from making cakes? Like, really, Peeta? Are you sure about that? I don't really believe that. So that's like one of the fun things with the Hunger Games. I hope you liked this video. I know it is a bit different, so I think the next video is going to be more normal. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Here's the drawing. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.